Okie dokie. Hi everyone, my name's Tom. In this video I just want to talk about tips and tricks that I've learned over the years playing like rally games predominantly, but also obviously I used to play Gran Turismo 5 and 6, and the new one looks really fantastic. I wish that came to PC, but anyway, I've got this for PC, I haven't got a PS5. Be nice though. I just want to talk about, so there's some tips that I picked up. I mean, things like Gran Turismo actually teaches you the basics pretty well on braking and accelerating and balancing the car, because you actually have to do licenses and things. I want to talk about like actual what you can do with your hands, what you can do with like your fingers at certain things, when you should brake and then accelerate. Just little tips that I have picked up, and I wanted to first go and do it in some, say, rally cross in this game, just because I can just talk over it and explain it, and then I'll probably go and do like a one rally track on Finland or something like that. So if you enjoy this video, if it helps you out, please leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe, and I'll get into it. I'm just gonna go. I don't really use the rally cross in these games. I've never really been a big fan. Well, that's slightly lighter. Well, should we go to the Subaru? Let's go to the Subaru. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. This is actually the local track to me, Silverstone, but we'll gloss over that. Yeah, so basically there's little things like I started picking up like the manual gears on like Dirt 2, like the way back, the one with like not Colin McRae, well, it had Colin McRae on the title actually, I think. Actually, I've got it down here somewhere. Wait, where is it? You have to excuse the cable mess. Yeah, there we go. None of the game companies would take it because the disc was cracked, and I've had this copy. I actually bought a digital copy off of a website on game, and I don't know what happened to that. I've never been able to redeem that, but yeah, there's a crack. It's obviously not in good condition. I used and abused it. It still works. It worked fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but yeah, the crack, no one took it. But on this game is where I learned to use manual gears, and I learned a lot actually about car tuning and stuff. I mean, I don't know when this was released, but one of my favourite games. Dirt 3 after it was really good as well. I missed Dirt 4. I really liked Dirt Rally when it came to on here, and I hadn't played this for a long time. It was only I got into the Switch and I stopped playing games for a long time, and then I've sort of gotten back into them the last year. But anyway, not chit chat. Some things that I've always liked is I've always found you're faster with a lot of the assists off. Some games not, like Assetto Corsa and that, you really do kind of want the assists on. But I think with rally games predominantly like this, you kind of want the assists off. There's some things you might want, like ABS, anti-lock brakes. As I said, turn this off. Off throttle braking, automatic windscreen wipers, that's the no-brainer. Exterior cameras, launch control off. I only just saw that before. Stability control, that's a popular one with the noobs. Traction control again off. Time control braking off. So this is how I find you'll find you can have all these on and still have a good experience. So even with auto here, you have a semi-automatic. What's that all about? I have a manual sequential. And obviously you're better off playing any of these games with a steering wheel. I mean, the tips I'm going to show you, I don't think are really that doable, really, unless you've got a really good steering wheel setup. You might be able to push buttons when you're actually turning the wheel or whatever, but that's kind of one reason I've not wanted to actually go into it. And I'll explain why. I'll go into it in a moment, but it's just purely because you have less control because of the joystick. You always want to make sure that the sensitivity on the steering is pretty much as maximum as it will go, because most of the default in any racing game, I remember Gran Turismo being a proper sort of one for this, the default steering on the joystick will be like so if you lose control, you're trying to go fast through a corner and make a quick twitch movement, it will just, by the time you've done a quick twitch movement, your guy's still turning left or something. It's just dumb. It's dumb. I hear all that, and I think this game is no different. I think it starts out with the sensitivity being extremely low. I don't know how we change that. Going to be on input. Do we have to then go click that, go to advanced? Yeah, so steering sensitivity 100. I don't know why these controls are feel like hidden. But the brake saturation, this game, the older Dirt before this, the brakes were really strong. Like, you had to tap the brakes if you went with my setup of assist, otherwise the car would just lock up and you'd go into the ditch or you'd crash. And I think this is still kind of like it, but the brakes are so bad in this game, and I still think they're terrible, to be perfectly honest. But to get it to feel good to me, I've had to put the brake saturation on either this controller or my Nintendo controller down to 25, and even then it doesn't feel as good as the older game. Everything else is fine. Obviously, handbrake is X. I've got up gear is circle, downer gear is square. And I'll talk about like rev matching, which is a very real thing. And the easy way to rev matches in this game, as we'll go up through the gears, I'll be tapping circle with my thumb and also going down with square with my thumb. But as you go down with the gears, you want to get the habit of, because that is definitely the setup I'd recommend. It feels really good. Is you want to get a habit of pressing both the square and the trigger at the same time. That's a fundamental of it. If you want to rev match in any game, that's essentially the best way of doing it. You don't need to push a clutch or anything like that in like real life. Makes it tremendously easy. And because we've got anti-lock brakes, you need to be realistically tapping the brakes. And you'll find that when you go into corners, it will make you want to do something that is also very realistic. You're going to want to sort of brake to a point to throw the weight of the car forward, but then also stay on the accelerator enough that you're not going to throw the balance, depending what you need. If you need heavy braking tight corner, you know, throw all the weight forward so it's all on the front wheels. If you've got a fast corner, you want to kind of keep the car as balanced as you can going through. But I don't know how loud this is going to be, but I'm going to try and show you just something of what I do here as we go around on the track. I've forgotten how violent this game is. So what I'll talk about the handbrake in a moment, when to use it. But for now, I don't know this track. Could have done without a ghost on, really. As I say, I've never been really a fan of the rally cross in these games, and by no means am I ever like a record-breaking person, but I've always found myself doing well on racing games, you know, having the AI on hard. I come in regularly in the top 100 on a lot of the time trials in this, easily top 1000, no doubt, many a time, but top 100, couple of hundred at least, I'm usually there in this game, and always kind of have been, really. But I just don't play it as much as I should. I should probably play it a bit more, but it just doesn't get views on my channel. So you can see here the gears, you have to be very quick. A lot of it comes with knowing. A lot of knowing it just comes with basically revving the car to the max is not always the quickest way. Short shifting is generally quicker, because in many turbo-based cars, the turbo's usually spinning at full RPM, and most cars have a peak torque area, and the games have done this no sort of different. And it'll usually be about here. It'll be about between 5,000 and 6,000 RPM. And you'll feel that that's probably the quickest point of the engine. That's where you're making the most acceleration. That's when the car is really picking up. And so a lot of the time you don't need to be taking it to the max red line. Only time you really need to red line, if that's ever a thing, is to basically just either out of a panic or just to get slightly more acceleration in a last minute moment. So like there, tight corner, you're not going to change up a gear, so just give it all you've got for that little bit and then slam it into third. Now, the handbrake is something that takes a little while to pick up. You never want to hold it, you just want to tap it. And if it's tapping it for like half a second, we'll restart here. Don't know if you can see me tapping the handbrake, but you have to. The understeer is so natural of these four-wheel drive cars that you have to use the handbrake to help turn the front of the car in. So you do most of the work, so I'll try and lay it in here, get into third, get into fourth, then quickly down to third, handbrake, turn in the front. It's a bit too much because I'm trying to, I guess, extend it, but same thing again, go down to third, tap the handbrake, turns in, same again, down to second, tap the handbrake and turn in. And you want to get into the habit of this, and it turns you, if you think about it, it turns a very boring racing. If you play with auto, if you play with all the assists on, it turns what might be a very boring racing game, all of a sudden you're pushing a lot of buttons in quick succession, and it feels really good. When I started learning and actually started figuring this out, I got hooked. I got really hooked on trying to do better, just competing against times against the computer even, and just trying to beat myself, and just getting better that way. And then took it online back in the day on like Dirt 2, and had some really good fun with it. And then you've got the tuning aspect to it, and once you kind of get a lot of that down, I think you'll realise then what you like about your car. Is it too stiff? Is it too soft? Is it too bumpy? Is it too slidey? Is it too understeery? And from there you can kind of figure out, well, what you want to change and what you want to do. But just like here, this track with the rallycross, they always need a lot of handbrake. So you just smash through the gears up here, slam onto the brakes. I don't really know what I'm actually doing with the brakes. I'm already thinking about it. I think, yeah, I don't know if I always tap it. Tap it and hold it in this game, really. It's a mixture of it, but you never really want to just hold it. That's like the worst thing you can do. You can literally just want to tap it as you go down through the gears. Sometimes you don't need to brake. You can just lift off. Not in this, for example, but in the actual rally side of things. So like right there, you want to brake as much as possible as late, so just hold it for a bit. Hopefully it doesn't lock up because you're going straight anyway. Same thing there. You want to keep the revs up, because each time tapping the throttle, very realistic in real life driving, tapping the throttle gives you so much control of the car. You can feel exactly the balance of the car and how many times you need to tap it. It's a really good way. If anything, that's something I would recommend, is just constantly tap the throttle through the corners until you get a better feel for what you're doing. Yeah, because that way you won't over rev, you won't slide too much, and it's actually, again, it's very realistic. You're trying to use what I said earlier, you're trying to use that peak torque of the engine. Just going flat out around a corner isn't per se the best way of doing it, particularly on this sort of surface. So like here, modulate the throttle so we're not redlining it too much until you're out of the corner and you get overtaken by my Ghost. But anyway, I hope I've kind of covered that well enough. I hope it does, otherwise this video probably won't go up. But I'll go and do a rally on one of my favourite tracks, and I'll call it there, and hopefully maybe you might be able to see some of this all come into its own. And as I say, if this helps you, please leave a like. This is just something I thought of playing the other day. I thought, like, I picked all this up years ago, and I remember playing games when I was a lot younger, much different to really, I could just pick this up and play it anytime I like, and the muscle memory and what to do. And I'm a keen driver anyway. I do miss driving. I've been thinking about it a lot recently. I'm going to work on getting my car out this summer. It's this one. This one of my favourite tracks. I had to buy the Finland DLC. It's one of my favourite things, really, in the entire game. What car do we use? I'm tempted to use an Evo. We could go with the 22B and be a bit iconic, since I've not used that much. You got the 95 there. Where is it? There it is. Actually, oh, I got the 2001 one as well. I forgot. And we got the Peugeot. Oh, I bought a lot of these on sale recently, and I haven't really played the game with it. Man, that was basically, this is the era of sort of rallying I kind of grew up with, and it's a shame no one really. And the footage from back then is such bad quality as well, which is a shame. It was a really, really fantastic period, because basically you just saw there was rallying on live TV, and there wasn't too much interviewing or anything. It was just racing. Some really good racing, really good fun. I'm tempted to use the Peugeot. I'm gonna go to 22B. It's more popular now, I think. If it was France or something, or Spain, we'll probably go with the Peugeot. But with so many jumps here, you probably want the Subaru. Let's be honest. I've always kind of seen from growing up, the Subarus jump probably some of the best out of any car I've ever seen. They always seem to jump flat. They really jump well. That's why you always see Ken Block and Travis Pastrana using them, because when they jump really well, whereas if you typically see American muscle cars or any other sort of car, like even a hot hatchback like a Clio or something, does a jump, it's front heavy, so it just nosedives immediately. Whereas Subaru, obviously it shows the balance of the car, they really do just fly. Really a sight to behold when someone's on the limit. But anyway, enough me gobbling. Let's just do it. So yeah, so this is kind of the end of the video. I've kind of said what I've said. I'm just going to try and hopefully not crash, but try and do a fast time here as well. This is a small one. Maybe I didn't choose the big one. I don't know.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 30 for left long. Just 6 right.
Well, I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And it turns what is usually a boring racing game into a fun one. And you can take this to anything. You can take it to, you know, Gran Turismo, Project Cars, Forza, whatever you want to do. Probably not Forza Horizon, because that's too much like Need for Speed, really. I wouldn't bother with manual gears. Seems like a waste of time, really.
3 right long of a crest, 80. Keep left of a crest, jump. 100.
And this car needs a tune up.
6 right long of a crest.
It's a bit bouncy.
40. Caution. 3 left of a crest. Into caution. 3 right. Opens 6 long. Keep left of a 50. Into turn 4 right. Right into a crest. Opens long. 60. 6 right of a crest. Dip. To keep middle of a jumps. 100. Keep middle of a crest and 7 for left long. Opens. Keep middle of a crest at 60. 5 right, very long. Opens 6. Extra long.
So like there, staying on the floor, just trying. I'm not too sure, so just braking just a little bit to keep the balance of the car in check. Because you'll notice when you brake, it throws the weight forward, and that is a very key part of racing and particularly rallying. And being quick in general, you'll see a lot of people that can't drive properly. The reason they crash, because they're not balancing the car. Whether it's through the corners, before the corners, after the corners, the car requires usual constant rebalancing. And that's down to you. The car's not going to do that. That's the driver, and that's what really separates a lot of quick people from slow people, is if you're not rebalancing the car constantly, you're not going to be quick. So like if you see me constantly tapping the brake, most times I'm just doing it to rebalance the car. That's all it is. I mean, I do the same thing in my driving videos I did years ago. Shit, too quick. I've always found this game hard to do while talking.
6 left of a crest, jump, 150. 6 right of a crest, 50. 5 left of a jump, opens, into 6 right of a jump, 80. Caution.
Probably we could do probably a few less gear changes, but so
Into 6 left long.
this actually isn't the track I thought it was. It's still a good track, probably part of it, but
5 right of a crest, jump, 70. Right of a crest, jump, 100. Right left, to keep middle of a jump, 160. Slow, keep middle of a crest, 30.
and don't hold the throttle open over a jump. Oh, we killed a man.
Keep middle of a jump.
Yeah, don't hold the throttle over a jump.
Keep middle of a long flat crest.
I don't remember this at all.
60. Keep middle of a jump and 6 left tightens. Right rear puncher, 100.
Ah, we got a puncher. Damn. That's not the track I thought it was at all. That's not even close. Oh, it's probably this one. I mean, it's all finished or whatever. I mean, the name is just... I have no idea how you say that. Oh my god. Jamsa, yeah, I remember this Jamsa. But yeah, just that jump there, I just didn't know where we were going. I did it to be confident, have at least a race I could do it. I'm quite confident. But at least I think you get the idea. I probably might edit the video there and leave it there. I don't know. Might carry on and just do this as well, because why not really? We're here. It's a good game. I haven't played it as much as I should, definitely. I played the first one a lot more, as I say.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. 100 through dip, and flat right to a crest, 80. Hold left to a crest, and jump, 200. Keep right to a big jump, 60. Keep middle of a long crest, 50. 6 left, turns 5 long of a crest, 50. 6 right to a crest long. Into 6 left long, 50. Crest, and keep right to a crest. Into 5 right, very long, 50. Keep left to a jump, 80. Dip. And keep left to a big jump, 80. 6 right long of a crest, 60. Slow dip, keep left of a crest, 50, turn square right, opens 50, 6 right long, and 6 left, extra long, keep right to the 80, keep middle of a jump, 50, 6 left of a crest, 80, 6 right, tightens of a crest, keep middle of a crest, 80, dip, and keep middle of a big jump into sudden, 5 left, tightens 4, opens of a crest, 40, 6 right of a jump long, 100, barely 5 left of a crest, don't cut, 60, 6 right long, tightens of a crest, 200, 6 right long of a crest, into 6 left of a crest, 50, keep middle of a big jump, 80,
see, could have been a lot quicker through that.
50, flat right, 60, caution, 6 right tightens 3, opens of a crest, 50, keep right, 5 left of a big crest jump, 40, 5 left of a crest jump, 50, 6 left tightens 5 of a dip, and 6 right of a crest long, into 6 left, and sudden 3 right, opens 6 of a crest, 80, flat left, keep right of a 50, 3 left tightens, and 6 right of a crest long, 50, keep middle of a crest, into 5 right, tightens of a crest, jump, 80, right to a crest, jump long.
Yeah, he says when he goes full fall over, jump.
5 left, extra long, opens of a crest.
That's funny.
100. Right to the crest, 80. Keep middle of a big jump, slow 80. Turn 3 right. Opens 6, extra long of a crest. 150 of a bumps. Keep middle of a jump, 50. 35 left of a crest, 60, 6 right of a crest, extra long, 200, finish, keep middle of a crest, just on.
Ooh, yeah, there we go, that's more like it. So I hope that comes across in video what I'm doing. I don't really know what I'm doing all the time, I just do it, as I say, off of muscle memory, but as I say, I'd like to think this has helped people. Some of my other videos I've filmed like this have done better than anything else I've filmed in the last few months. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.